Hello and welcome. We're talking Evolve today. The show was last night. Honestly, these shows have been pretty good. This one was a little bit of a hiccup, but again, it's what we've gone back to where it's like if they do the four matches, I feel like it's just too many matches in too little time because the show's an hour long and those matches never get a chance to breathe. But again, my personal opinion, but I do feel like they always are lower rated shows. So let's jump into it. We had Tate Wilder versus Brooks Jensen. Uh, yeah, even though my personal bias is I'm not really a big fan of Tate Wilder, Brooks Jensen isn't too much higher than that. But overall, this is just kind of a boring feud. It's supposed to be like him trying to get into the business, but he's taken two L's from Tay Wilder, and he's going to face Ridge Holland at some point, and I think that's going to be another L. So not a good start for him. I don't really know. The whole cowboy gimmick just doesn't really work for me in general. I feel like there's good and bad ways of doing it, and this is the bad way. The match itself wasn't anything special. Like I said, it was just so short, and it really didn't do either person any type of justice because even Brooke Jensen, who picks up the win, it just feels like he beat up an opponent that sucked because it was just like a couple minutes. So I'll put it down in D. It was probably one of my least favorite matches I've seen overall in Evolve. Next up is an Idris Inoue versus Dante Chen. This match was better. It still struggled again with the timing and their rivalry between each other. It's been okay. Like he pulled off the turnbuckle in the beginning. It was just kind of a weird thing, and the ref took forever to notice. They both took shots in the turnbuckle. It was just an odd choice, I guess. I don't really know why they decided to do that. Overall, I think they do have some good ring chemistry for basically, this small little rivalry. This is like a small storyline in about seven or eight storylines they have going on in Evolve, so I'm not necessarily against it. Match, kind of ended abruptly, because again, there's no time for any of these matches to breathe. So I'll put it in C. It just couldn't really do much better than that. It was just timing and stuff like that. I really do think that they really mess up their matches by doing this. Next up, we had a little bit of a backstage thing with these two new guys talking to Adrenaline Drip. Hey, I like a tag division. This would be cool. This gets way more people out there, and they won't have to do, hopefully, as many matches. If you do three matches and one of them is tag, it's basically like having four matches because you still get a total of eight people shown. And I know that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pack as many people in each episode, and I'm not necessarily against that. It's just more of like there's sometimes you don't need to be doing all of that. Overall, like if a tag division or anything of this comes from this, I'm definitely down for this. I like Adrenaline Drip a lot. Both of Jack Cartwheel and Cappuccino Jones are like my top five guys uh, on Evolve in general. I'd probably say top three to be honest with him and Sean Legacy. I think that is my top three. So I do like that they're getting some backstage segments when they're not on the show. It means that they're invested in like these people and stuff, and we get to see some new characters, which is always cool. With getting more and more in the episodes, it's kind of interesting to see who it is. We also had backstage segments with Troy Yearwood and It's Gall. I didn't even want to put that on there because that's just ass. And then we had an interview with Sean Legacy. I just don't really like the interviews. It just seems so, I don't know, just awkward in the way that they do them. So I never really include much of them, but both of those would have been probably in D tier because of just how awkward they are. This one I'll put up in A. I thought it was pretty solid. Like I said, if we get a tag division, I would be completely above with it. As my phone goes off saying I need to be woken up again. Then we had Layla Diggs versus Zeta Steel, which was just like a match they threw together at the last minute, or at least that's what they showed, because Bryce Donovan was mad being thrown into a match last week out of the blue. So he put them, or they put Zeta here and then put the tag team in next week. Honestly, with Layla Diggs, I'm just been a little disappointed since the very first time that we saw her. She did that really amazing leg drop kick. She did a lot of crazy stuff, and she still was pretty confident in this match. But it just felt like where is all of that? Like there was a lot of good that she used to have, and I feel like they either holding her back or she's holding herself back for whatever reason. But I'm really surprised because she was, towards the top of one of my favorites, but every time I've seen her since then, it's just been kind of okay, nothing too crazy. This match itself, like I said, was just pretty decent. Again, just suffers from the same thing I've said about all these matches. They're just too short. I don't know why they decided that, but it's what happens. But again, competency. I don't think it's anything too crazy. Worth watching to catch up for the storyline, but not anything if you missed this in general this episode. Next up, we have Carmen versus Tyra May Steele. Now, this match confused me because obviously they record Evolve maybe like 3-4 weeks in the past. So obviously Carmen's part of NXT, but like going down to Evolve to maybe get some extra reps. And then Tyra May Steele was on NXT because she won LFG and then got demoted or like put down to Evolve to get reps. But now both of them are kind of featured on NXT. I mean, Carmen less than Tyra May Steele because Tyra May Steele seems like she's gonna be right into a storyline. So what is this? Like, why have her get defeated in like 5 minutes flat? It feels like I don't know what they were doing. I'm assuming they did this match and then later on decided that they were going to use her in NXT because the only other thing I could think of is they were just like, oh well, we'll just have her have a quick loss so she's not in that title picture and all that. But it doesn't look good. It looks like you just got beat by the bottom of the division, and then more than likely she's going to be feuding with Ethan Page and Chelsea Green. That just feels like a complete 180 of like where her career projection was. So I don't know. I think the match itself was fairly solid for the time it was. I think I could slightly put it in the B category. Like it was good. Carmen did great. Tyra still was pretty good in the ring. They just didn't give them a lot of time for it. The ending was just kind of wild because it was like when they started and stuff, I was like, they got 5 minutes, and then they put a commercial in it, and I was like, oh, they barely are gonna have any time here. And yeah, sure enough, that's how it felt. And it was just kind of a random knee knockout thing. And that was it. So overall, I probably put the show in C. One of the like not worst shows, but definitely one of the bottom shows that I've seen so far. So it's not too bad. It was just kind of a heavy story, one that they were trying to get other stuff done. Because obviously they were talking about Ridge Holland and Shawn Legacy going against each other next week, and the other title eliminator match, which I completely forgot, and then it should be Swipe Right versus somebody. So they've been having all these other stories. Jordan Erases tagged, Brooks Jensen during his match, and so like this felt like all like stepping stones for later storyline type of episode, which isn't necessarily bad, but it does definitely doesn't live up to the rest of the episodes. But yeah, if you guys like these Evolve reviews, I do them every week. Same video with NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. So if you like any of those shows, we talk about them in the comments and tell me what you guys thought. And I hope you guys have a good day. Bye, guys.